It is the RIOT on RadioU. Boy, we're having fun today.
I think you guys are going to say that once you get through this podcast because it is a lot of good stuff. A lot.
It's tepid at best.
Yawning again.
I'm tired, man.
I know you are.
I told you, I can't figure out if it's like the medication I take or how boring it is or like what.
You didn't say it on air, but you said yesterday you took a 3-hour nap. So what are you going to do today?
I don't know.
And you're still tired.
Yeah.
Which makes me think you're sleeping too much and making yourself too tired.
It's not that.
You can't. Yes, you need a medium amount of sleep.
Look, I slept for almost not at all last week.
Yeah.
There was, Nikki's got her own thing going on, but I got a thing going on that was it took so much mental and physical energy.
Sure.
And now that it's over, I feel
you're
dead
catching
inside.
up then.
I mean, I'm real tired.
You're catching up from last week.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in this podcast, let's just move on to the list, shall we?
We will. In the podcast, we talk about suing Apple, Sony's big TV. I talked to you about the kind of movies that I think are actual horror movies. Let's see, anything else? We talk about getting huffy. Captain Marvel, pole vaulting. Nikki doesn't care about my virtual reality headset, and I'm hurt.
Not true.
What not to put on your pizza. Cat dinosaurs.
I like that one.
Fat Bergs.
That's good, too.
That might be my favorite part of the whole show. Fat Berg. I just like saying it.
You like saying what?
Fat Berg.
No. Detective Fatberg.
Detective Fatberg.
Which you'll learn about when you keep listening to this podcast.
I should just go ahead and write that book.
You know, it's impressive.
Detective Fatberg knew what was going on.
I want to say thank you, guys, because you could stop at just right here and say, I don't want to listen to the podcast because, I don't know if we're selling it or not. I just don't know. But you keep listening, and we really appreciate you listening to the whole podcast.
Hey, I'll tell you.
We know it must be tough.
I'll tell you real talk. I don't even know why anybody listens at all. I can't. When I listen back to it, I'm like, I think it's funny.
I don't know.
But I'm not sure.
Well, when we bring you stuff like Detective Fatberg.
Hey, who wouldn't want to hear about Detective Fatberg?
So thank you for listening. In all seriousness, thank you for listening to our podcast. Don't forget to say hello. You can text 877-2-RADIO-U. We'll see that when we come in next time. So just post, hey, I'm a podcast listener. Or if you join us at RadioU Riot on our Facebook page, you can message us and post things there too.
All right. Well,
Bye.
You guys have a wonderful whatever. And we'll be seeing you. Bye.
Worst of the riot, not enough? Not enough? Check the blog and all things Riot at riot.radiou.com.
Okay, look. I'm about to give you the just absolute essence of a first world problem. You're like, man.
But pull on up. Get ready for it.
Are we even still using that term, let alone having those? Yeah.
I don't even know if it's a first world problem. Is there a new, more intense word of that?
I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I stopped at McDonald's today, wanted a soda.
Yeah.
Because I went running for the 5K this morning, and I deserved it.
You could just say because. You don't have to give us an excuse or reason.
I can feel everyone staring down their nose at me. It's fine.
Staring down their cups.
Yeah, whatever. And so I get there, and there's nobody there. And I pull up to, how they have the split orders? So it's I went to the left instead of the right.
Yeah.
So I go to the left, and I sit there for a while. And nobody answers, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to give him a few more seconds. And then a guy pulls up to the other one next to me, and they immediately begin talking to him.
So is yours broken?
Well, after that guy gets his order, whatever, then they come to me, and I can pull around. And It's just do you understand?
I've been here forever.
I was here first.
Was that the first world problem, or?
Yeah.
Oh, that was it?
Not just the first world problem. The part that got me that was just rough afterwards is I was a little embarrassed about the fact that it wasn't just a matter of they just happened to get to them first. It was who do they think they are? Don't they understand that my time is valuable?
You were first.
Don't they value me as a person? I arrived first, and I demand to be served first.
Didn't you speak up or say hello to anybody at the call thing?
No.
No, well, then that's you. That's on you.
It's not on me. They're
it
supposed
is on
to have
you.
highfalutin technology that detects my presence. The guy that pulled up to the other drive-thru didn't go, hello?
Maybe yours is broken.
Is anybody there? Hello?
I see this man sitting in the other McDonald's lane not talking to anybody. But
yeah, I didn't hear that guy say, oh, I think the other guy was here first. Do you want to go ahead and,
Actually,
and
that
take
would have
his
been
order?
Hilarious if you would have just been like, do not cut in front of me, sir.
Okay.
You felt like it?
Well, I forgot all about this. I had a similar problem where there was, I was in a line where a lady wasn't getting served, and she actually, I can't believe I forgot this. She actually cut in front of me.
Yeah.
And began screaming at the guy at the window that someone hadn't taken her order. And, at the time I judged her, but now I get it.
Now you understand the feelings.
I get it. I mean, should she have had better self-control? Sure.
Maybe.
Sure. But you know what?
You were first, though.
I understand it.
You were first in line.
I was. To think.
That they just passed over you.
That I would pull up first and they would talk to that other person?
Well, that makes me think that your McDonald's line was not working. Something was wrong.
Or it was a personal insult against me.
Probably not.
I think that's what it is. I'm calling the manager.
They're like, we know you.
You know who it is. You know who's on the phone right now. I was the one you passed over and you went to the other person first. Don't act like you don't know.
I know. You hate the Riot. Why are they on the radio?
Stupid. Yeah.
Honestly, we can't trust them with anything else. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Many times here on the show, Nikki and I have been transparent about our great desire to sue someone. Because it seems to be the only way we're really going to make any money.
Well, when we read all the many articles about people suing companies and each other, that's the only time we really see the big dollar signs. And we got to figure something out.
And so I've reached a point where I've just accepted that I'm not going to get that phone call that catapults me to amazing stardom and untold riches. I'm going to continue to just grind it out and then eventually...
that'll be it.
Never retire. So it's cool. But if we could get that lawsuit going.
I know. You could have that extra money you've been wanting.
Fantastic. Nikki, here's what I got right now. I've got a guy who is suing Apple for how much? Wait for it. $1 billion.
This lawsuit's kind of fascinating.
It is fascinating.
But I have a very hard time when someone does something for such an extravagant amount of money. So I don't know when they're like, oh, shoot for the stars
right there,
and then settle
right
for
there.
the whatever.
And then Apple's like, $1 billion? How do you feel about 25 million?
No,
Done.
How about 100,000? Okay, take it.
No. I'm getting at least 7 figures out of this one. Maybe 8. Let's say 8.
So he
figures.
started very high on this at $1 billion, and he's 18.
Well, here's the story. His name is Asmonai Ba. We're going to call him O. Hey, and brother, I know what it's like to have an O name that people can't get right. You know what I'm saying? So O gets arrested by the NYPD for multiple thefts in Boston, New Jersey, Delaware, and Manhattan. He gets arrested November 29th.
Yes.
And here's how they figured out who he was. Basically, Apple, and I did not know they did this. This is fascinating. Apple uses Apple ID, like photo recognition software, when you walk into their store.
Yes, they do.
They use facial recognition on you when you come into the store. Pull up all your information, et cetera, et cetera. So he had his ID stolen, and that ID had been basically through a series of hooks and crooks got associated with the thief that actually stole the stuff. And so Apple's facial recognition software, he walks into an Apple store and they're like, there's the guy.
Well, Apple said that the ID did not have any actual photo attached to it.
Right.
And so the facial recognition system put the thief's photo in with his information.
Okay, so then I'm getting this wrong. So are you telling me that Apple had his info but not his photo?
Well, yes, and they kind of merged together. So it seemed like the face recognition system associated the real thief's face with Ba's actual details.
Okay, that's the part I misunderstood, because I thought the thief had done some kind of an identity theft to him.
Not in so much, no.
Okay.
The
so
picture
then the software
of the thief
really is at fault.
Yeah, so the software saw this guy and said, oh, you're Bob. But really, he wasn't Bob, but Bob's picture was associated with O's account. So when he went in, it pulled up O and showed his picture. So they arrested him thinking he was a thief.
So it basically took an NYPD detective almost no time to take a look at the surveillance footage and go, this is not the guy.
This is not the person, but they had already arrested him. This is the potential problem with facial recognition systems.
So one of the things that the lawsuit says is Apple's use of facial recognition software in its stores to track individuals suspected of theft is the type of Orwellian surveillance that consumers fear, particularly as it can be assumed that the majority of consumers are not aware that their faces are being secretly analyzed.
So he didn't look anything like the thief, and he was at his senior prom in Manhattan when the Boston robbery happened. So they said it wasn't too hard to figure out, but he had already been arrested. Because he'd been arrested, now he's putting the $1 billion lawsuit against Apple because of what he went through.
While the number feels high, I think
the number feels high, but he should get something.
I feel like it's a justified thing. And to be clear, I think that it's one of those things you're like, well, you compensate for. No, this is a case where I think punitive damages.
Sure.
Apple gets punished for what they have done. So, and this guy, man, take a vacation.
Like, I get all new Apple products for the rest of my life.
You get college education, we get Chinese food. I think that sounds like a great idea.
The Riot.
They hate me, they hate you, they hate us.
Why else would they make us listen to the worst of the Riot? Radio U.
I am looking at, okay, let's start over because I feel like I'm not doing it the justice it deserves. You know, it's almost time for the 2019s to hit.
It is.
Right? So getting excited about that?
Okay, we're in it, but...
Okay, I know, but it takes a while for, the lines to get out there. They produce them, they show them off, and then, ta-da, here they are. And I'm talking, of course, about Sony's new line of 2019 8K TVs.
Woo!
These suckers are ready for consumers.
Ready to go.
They sure
with
are.
nothing to watch.
Here's what I love. I'm looking at here's what they do. They take your 4K content and then they up-res it.
Yeah, listen, at that opportunity, what you're doing is going to be sitting there going, I think I see it. I think it looks a little better. I'm not sure, though. And you'll spend the whole movie doubting on what you just invested in.
Is it there?
Is it there? And then you have to convince yourself because you spent so much money on it.
I think it's there.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we all do with 4K currently.
Yeah. Well, okay. I will say about 4K. The fun to me of 4K is watching movies I've seen a million times in 4K.
Yeah.
Because, there's some stuff that I remember watching just like on broadcast TV and seeing it in 4K. I'm just like, man, this is amazing. And I know it's real.
But then other stuff.
New stuff? That's the one thing for sure.
You cannot tell.
Like if you grab like Avengers Infinity War and you watch it on a Blu-ray and then a 4K Blu-ray and you're like, man, I think I saw it.
You just have to make yourself see it.
I think so.
So you feel bad. You're like, all right, I'm glad
which one are we watching right now?
Right. Right. I did that I have a 4K TV and I was watching the Grand Tour, which is, that has a 4K feed on it. And I remember I watched so many episodes and I was like, oh, I wasn't even watching the 4K one. And the other one looked just great.
Amazon's app sucks. It's like, look.
Why won't it be more obvious?
If I have a 4K TV, play the freaking thing in 4K.
Thank you.
Don't make me go hunt down the other version of it. Netflix doesn't ask me, now, which TV you using, son? It just detects it, and then that's what I get.
But anyways, I feel like we've stepped to the side.
Sorry,
and we
right.
need to get back to the
8K
thing that Sony wants us to buy.
All right. They've got a 98-inch TV.
Ooh, how much is that?
Here's what I love about it.
Well, I'm going to jump automatically to the price.
About
yes.
Can we talk about some of the options? It has its own legs. So,
it's human! Oh, my gosh.
It is. You know how you have to, you got to buy a TV stand?
Thank goodness it moves itself in.
It's got its own TV stand, basically. So you don't have to worry or invest in those kinds of things.
Can you remove it, though? Because I always like to wall mount it. But at 98 inches, maybe my wall won't hold that.
Oh, yeah. Your wall doesn't have what it takes to handle this.
So, what did they say? A load-bearing wall or something? You have to find the stud.
98-inch 8K TV. What do you think it costs?
Well, if they're talking about it, that means it's not the Sony TVs that we get, like in the store. Like it's not that one.
No, they
yet.
say it's a consumer version.
I know they say that, and
Okay,
that's sweet and everything, but it's not the one they put on the floor that we can touch. We're not allowed to touch it yet. I would say let's go with $4,500.
$4,500.
Yeah, $4,500. Is that not it? Am I not close enough to it? That seemed like a lot. Am I not close?
She's cute, isn't she?
8,000?
Just love letting her come to the showroom and play.
That's why we can't touch the TV.
All right, now take your unicorn toy to the back there, okay?
So wait, it's 98
Daddy's
inches.
doing business here.
98 inches, AK, so that was wrong.
$70,000.
What? I was really off.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
sure they won't sell it for my price?
Pretty sure.
Now, if you don't ask.
Even with an employee discount,
If
we're not looking at.
When checking out, don't ask. You have the power as the buyer.
Like, excuse me, $80,000? Okay.
Now, this is what I got. I'll give it to you cash.
Do you want this cash? Look at this. I got $500 cash.
I'm willing to take it.
All right.
Well,
you guys, you want this?
I was a little off.
Oh, yeah. Just go in there
When
and
will
wave
this
your
come
money
out?
at them. It comes out next month. And if I will tell you, there's an 85-inch model that's 8K capable.
Sure.
That's only going to be $13,000. So
It makes me, sick in my stomach to hear that amount.
come on, Nikki. You just, it's an equity line.
No one will get approved for that.
It's for this TV. It'll appreciate in value.
They'll never approve you.
The Riot believes in truth, justice, the American way, and high-speed internet. No, faster. Radio U.
Listen, I have to explain something to you that people get funny with me about it, but I'm just going to tell you the truth because they think that I'm just being a jerk about it, but I'm being completely honest. I can't watch, those heartwarming movies where it's about some miracle that happened and whatever, and everybody's like, you have got to see this movie. You have to.
In fact, you guys, a lot of mornings call us and tell us we've got to go see this movie.
You have to watch this. It's unbelievable what
and
happens.
we appreciate that.
I do, but here's what you have to understand. I find those movies that are based about some hope that comes out of tragedy, that to me is an actual horror film. I find it...
Oh, it's most upsetting.
Oh, absolutely. It's horrific. It's the kind of stuff that bothers me for days and days and days afterwards. But what about the hope at the end? No. I never get to the hope. The hope's not what sticks with me, the whatever. The terrible, awful circumstances. And why? Because they're real. It's something that could actually happen. That's why if I want to be scared, I can sit down and watch something that's quote unquote scary about the vampire and the whatever. And then at night, do you think I'm he's at the window? No, I'm
Because it's not real.
because it's not real. But then everybody's like, we want you to come and we're gonna take the whole family to see this movie about how someone fell in ice and then got cancer and then got ran over by a car and then whatever. And yeah, they died, but everybody had hope at the end. I'm like, that happens. That's actually scary. Okay, that's something that I could be terrified about. I could wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh my gosh, what if I get run over? That's actual terror. I don't walk home at night in the dark what if they come? Because they ain't real. All right, that's not scary.
I see the difference, yes.
Do you see the difference?
Yes, I see the difference.
And so I try to explain this to people, and they're like, you're just a terrible person. You don't ever want to watch things that are actually good and are actually have a message to them. You just want to watch some stupid movie with The Rock in it. I'm like, yep, because it's fake. I'm there for fake.
He knows the difference.
Don't hit me up with something. They're like, but it's heartwarming. No, it's not heartwarming. It's heart-wrenching. It's rip your heart out, stomp on it, spit on it, rip it up. But there's a little hope at the end.
So Avengers it is. That's what we're doing?
I just, you know what? I'm just going to say it, and we're just going to back away. But I'm tired of people judging me for it.
Sure.
I don't want to watch that kind of movie.
And that's fine.
It hurts me.
Is that the trailer, or you were watching something over there? And
No, that was for something else.
Okay, not so heartwarming.
Not so heartwarming.
But it made you realize the difference.
I'm just telling you, I can't take it. Those movies, they bother me. But people don't get that. They think I'm trying to be difficult or make a point. I'm not trying to anything. I'm just telling you that you'll walk away and be like, I feel so good right now. And I'll walk away just like sobbing and like, man, we all going to die. We're going to die, man. How's it going to happen to me?
Gosh.
But do you get it?
I do get it, but that's a downer hearing all that.
No, it's not a downer. I got to get this out, Nikki, because no one's listening to me and nobody believes me.
No one's got it.
I'm not trying to be manipulative like, no, we're going to watch what I want to watch. I just can't watch your movie about the triumph over overwhelming circumstances unless it's an invading alien army. I can watch that.
That feeling when you hear that every school in the state is closed, but yours? Now you know how we feel. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
So, Nikki, the good news is I think I'm finally over what I call the itchies.
For your working out, for running.
Yep.
It's a weird thing he talked about. Whenever you start running again, you start itching.
Oh, my body, like I itch all over. It is madness.
But at least you found that you're not the only one, and some people have this problem. It goes away eventually where your body stops like recognizing the signals that it's being sent, but it's good to know that you're not the only one who has it.
What Nikki and I learned is that if for some people, if you haven't done something in a while, so like for me, it's running. I've been lifting weights all winter, whatever, but I haven't run probably since November. And so when I started running again, blood flows to your skin or whatever in different ways than it does.
As we itch while you talk about
right?
it. It's like, stop talking.
And so what it is it's fascinating. It's not, your body's not actually itching. Like you don't have something in your skin or whatever. Blood flows to that part of your body. It's going out through the capillaries and it's basically hitting all these nerves, and your nerves start telling your brain that you're itching. You're not itchy, but you feel that way.
Sure.
And so I call it cases of the itchies, and it has taken me weeks to get over it.
So you're saying like if I get an itch or like a rash, I would put like an allergy cream or something on it, but it's not like that.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You can't just medicine that thing away.
Essentially, the only way you can fix it is to endure it. Which sucks because...
That's a statement about life, isn't it?
Right?
You just must endure the itchies.
Life lesson with the riot, endure the itchies.
Push through, and one day you'll stop feeling like you need to scratch your arm out.
The one thing that I did figure out is that if you would treat it like an interval, so I would run for 60 seconds and walk for 30. And I did that over and over again, and it would be funny. Like I would just start to get real itchy, and then I would walk, and then it would kind of calm down a little bit.
That is so weird.
It really is. It's very annoying, but it's just one of those things where I'm not even kidding when I say this. I've been through this before. It's incentive to keep running because you're just like, you know what? If we keep running, we won't get the itchies again.
Even if it's like once a week.
Something.
It's just something to keep it going.
But yeah, I got out this morning and I ran for the RadioU 5K, which, I know not everybody can participate in. It's in Westerville, Ohio. And I know people listen to RadioU all over the world, but it's just this event that we have. And so that for me, it's been like, you have to run. Like, you have to get out there and do some running. And so I've been back at it. And this morning was my first time I got up before the show and ran in my neighborhood. So now I'm running outside, because that's the other thing, too. You can do treadmill running forever, but eventually you must transition
outside
running, which I've done it. I did it.
I'm glad your itchies are gone, because otherwise you're like, who's this crazy guy running at like 3 a.m. itching outside?
He won't watch nice movies. He's out there rubbing his skin in the middle of the night.
Very weird. Very uncomfortable.
Hey, listen, you know what? I've just finally had to come to terms with the fact I'm not like everybody else.
Your body's different.
I'm not better. It's not better. But I don't really... Do we have to call it worse? Can we just say different?
Special. You have your own little quirks. It's fine.
Let's just say different.
The Riot.
Apparently some of the less athletic types go nuts for this stuff.
Radio U.
Yes, the Avengers comes out this week. But I got to ask you, before we talk...
Well, I was going to tell you, Eric was trying to find tickets to go see it this weekend.
He showed me.
He tells me, well, there's a Sunday at like 8 a.m. And I think there was only a couple of seats left.
Did he get tickets?
No, well, I don't know if
he showed me.
The midnight one?
Yeah, I was like, man, is he really going to... And I I just said, hey, awesome.
No, there was a Sunday night then at midnight.
Right.
That was like wide open. But he just kept telling me like, well, there's, the first 2 rows seem to be all that's left on most of the showings. And I was like, you should have planned. You should have been ready.
Yeah.
And then I told him we'll just wait till next weekend. And he got all huffy. Like he couldn't possibly not get spoilers until then. And so I think he's going to try.
Wait. Did you just say?
He didn't really get like huffy, but he was just like, what's the word? Indignant? Like, how could I possibly wait 2 weeks?
Eric got all huffy.
He didn't want to wait a week. And I said, just wait a week. Just wait a week.
I just have this image of just Eric like...
Like, I can't possibly, when I feel like it's just reasonable to, instead of seeing it in the very middle front row or talking yourself into being like, no, okay, the seat's going to be great. It'll be just fine. Just wait till next weekend.
Don't be all huffy, Eric.
You could use that today if you'd like for anything.
Stop huffing at me.
No, and it wasn't at me. It was just at the system. The seat system.
Oh my gosh. Don't get all huffy.
Never heard that term?
Oh no, I totally have. I just think the idea of you using it, because I see you get huffy all the time.
No. That's maybe why I know the term so well.
I feel, you know what? I feel like little Nikki, her mom or dad, and I don't know which one, told her to not get all huffy.
That's how I know it so well.
Didn't they?
Yeah, probably
Didn't
so.
They? That's where that came
I don't think I got not being huffy, but like drop the attitude, the sass. You and I were the same growing up.
I think all 3 of those were things that you were told.
Probably.
Don't get huffy. Drop the sass.
and get rid of the attitude.
I've had it with that attitude. Okay?
It's like we're going back in time. Maybe not even too far.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Want to know what the Riot is doing right now? Follow them on Instagram and Twitter at riot.radiou.com. It's the worst of the Riot on Radio U.
Nikki,
yes?
You loved Captain Marvel. And why?
Because I am a girl and she is a girl.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, that's what the marketing wanted me to have.
Nikki,
but I have not seen it yet.
Up until Nikki saw the trailer for Captain Marvel, she didn't even know what a strong woman was.
Except when I looked in the mirror.
No, because when you looked in the mirror, you were just like, oh, poor pathetic woman.
No!
But then when you saw Captain Marvel and she has blonde hair and you have blonde hair, you were like, I can be a strong woman too.
Absolutely.
But of course, you're supposed to learn you've been a strong woman all along, but the patriarchy has been pushing you down. Someone's getting mouthy.
I had it in me the whole time.
I better wind it back just a little bit. Hey, Captain Marvel, we've got a man... Steve in Wisconsin. Steve, I'm not quite sure why, but he decided he needed to set a record.
Yeah.
And so he has, and he's in the middle of getting it certified by Guinness. He has set a world record for having seen Captain Marvel the most times.
Well, congratulations.
116 times.
Feels like a bet that some of his bros and him made.
So, the interesting thing is
it in theaters or because it's not out yet, is it?
No, you can still see it. Like where I'm seeing Avengers, they still have.
But I mean,
Captain Marvel.
It's not like digital and at home yet.
No,
it's just still in theaters.
I think you can probably pick it up with like Korean subtitles or something. If you know what I'm saying.
An alternate form of copy.
You know, like, hey, this copy's so neat. You can actually feels like you're in the movie theater.
Actually, I have a feeling
you can see the seats.
Those would be so nice. It's usually a different language, another country where they come from.
He doesn't provide what I would consider to be an answer for why he's doing it. He just went to see it a few times, and then after a while, he was like, you know what? This could be a thing. Many people have accused him of not having a job. He says he has a job.
This is his job.
He has a job, but he's taking vacation time, so he could take whole days and just watch it over and over again.
Oh my gosh! I have such a hard time with this.
And then
I don't know why, but I feel like I want to go speak to his mom, and I hate that.
I think he might be too old for you to do that.
To go speak to his mom? How old was he?
You know what? It doesn't say.
Okay.
But I can tell you that he has seen it 116 times at the Marcus Cedar Creek Cinema in Rothschild.
What was his name?
His name is Steve. He's from
Probably know him at this point when he walks in.
What? Oh, absolutely.
They must know him.
I will tell you that my dad and I, at one point in my childhood, we began going to, there was like a Super Saver, like cheap seats kind of place right down the street from his place. And so we would go down there to watch this one movie in particular that was showing, and they quit charging us.
Oh, because you guys would always go?
We had gone so many times, they just quit charging us.
That's sweet.
That's something, huh?
They're not doing that nowadays.
No.
Like, hey, Steve, and that'll be however much money.
Yeah, but he says that he had to have this, like, all these people fill out these forms and all this stuff, but he is almost certified because no one else has seen it 116 times in the theater. And then you have to wonder, it's that whole thing with world records of like, yeah, but would anybody want to?
Nobody would want to, but now because he's gone and done this, if the right person hears about it out of spite, they're just going to go try to ruin his record, but it's going to leave theaters soon. So no one else could probably do that.
No, at that point, Nikki, you're going to have to rent out a theater.
And then you're really something special if that's what you're doing.
Well, like I said, Nikki, she's a girl, you're a girl.
I'm supposed to be watching this.
This is, Nikki, I'm tired of you being unempowered. It's time for us to empower you.
No.
So I'm going to need you to watch Captain Marvel 117 times.
I'm putting Captain Marvel where I put Wonder Woman.
Oh, you mean a digital purchase you never watched?
Exactly. So that's my collection that I have.
You still haven't watched Wonder Woman,
no,
have you?
I haven't.
It's got your man in it.
I like Chris Pine. I don't know why I don't want to watch it. I'm afraid. Does he die?
Yes.
Well, then I don't want to watch it.
But he's coming back for the sequel, so they must be doing something.
No, I thought that was a prequel.
It's not a prequel.
It's not?
Wonder Woman 1984.
Okay.
So, no, it's not a prequel, and he's coming back. Probably Amazon 2-day shipping. It's something like that. Something Amazonian. Something, I don't know.
Did you know the Riot can help you see into the future? Every time Obadiah says he likes a show, impress all your friends by correctly predicting it will be canceled by the end of the year.
Canceled.
What are you talking about? It's not funny.
Works every time. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Nikki and I are here, though we will be going to Walmart later so that we can engage in a quick scam. No, quick. Is it quick change? Is what they call it?
Is there a term for it?
There is. So here's what you do. I used to run a cash register, and they will actually teach you about this because the store I worked for, this had happened to somebody. So what happens is somebody comes in and they pay for something, and then they're like, oh, wait. Can I get change for this? And can I get whatever?
And make it a mess?
The idea is to confuse the cashier, and you end up giving them way more money back than they actually gave you, or they'll argue with you like, oh, I gave you a 50, and it's like, no, you gave me a 20. And so one of the things we would do at the store I worked for, whatever money that somebody gave you, you would lay it across your drawer. And so that way, if anyone ever said to you,
I gave you more
I gave you blank, you would say, this is the bill that you gave me. I never had anybody try anything like that with me.
I've heard people, like you've been in line and you've heard people try it and they're convinced, and it could be they just thought they actually gave you a different bill, but now everybody's scamming, so.
True story. Rotterdam in, what city was this, or state was this in? Was it? It doesn't matter. So what ends up happening is we've got a guy who comes into Walmart to buy 3 laptops. He pays cash, and then he starts...
Warning bells are ringing.
You know, Nikki, that's perfectly legal tender.
I know it is, but it does make you wonder.
So then he's like, wait. I gave you this amount of money. And the cashier's like, no, you gave me this amount. So they start doing whatever. And then, this is so great. In the middle of all of this, a man walks up just to the right of the cashier in the middle of the electronics aisles and starts dancing. And I don't mean like just kind of dancing. I mean... big time, demonstrative, something is happening dancing.
So is he there to distract and cause confusion? What is this? What are you guys doing?
He was there to confuse the cashier further, and that way it made it even harder. So what ends up happening is they ended up getting about $2,000 back from the store.
Out of the confusing part?
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's because they ended up getting the laptops for less or exactly how they did it, but Walmart is saying they're out $2,000. But they have released fairly high-res photos of both the dancer and the changer.
Because they're in it together.
I love the dancing part. And it made me wonder this question, Nikki. If you and I decided to do this...
I'd be at the cash register.
I'd be the one dancing?
Yeah, you would be.
You don't think you could go dance?
I don't think I want to be.
No, I feel like if you had decided that was your role, that you would be okay with doing it.
Then I could go with it.
Like, if you and I just went to Walmart, it's way more likely that I would just start dancing. That'll probably happen, and you'll want to die on the inside.
I'm not sure which role, but we'd have something. I'd be in the getaway car.
No,
that'd be me. I'd drive you.
So it's me and Eric? Well, we both know Eric's not the one that's dancing, so I think you should come in and dance with us.
The worst of the riot. It's like Lucky Charms, but no marshmallows. Radio U.
You know, a lot of time here on the show, you'll hear us make jokes about the fact that I have a tendency to just forget things. And if you want to know the truth, I think it's part of me. I think my brain is capable. There's just this terrible part of my brain that's just like, don't care.
I feel like, as an outsider looking in,
yeah,
okay, we all have I don't feel you multitask as well. So
no, not well at all.
So if you have a lot of things going on, you'll only remember a couple of them.
Yep.
And it's not by like what you feel is more important. I just think it's by like,
random
whatever
chance.
Random reason you're remembering 2 out of the 5 things.
Yeah.
And then the other you'll never remember until the day you die.
That's right. That's right. So yesterday, Nikki asked me.
I went during a song to go make some tea, and I didn't have enough time, so I needed to remember to go back after the next song, after we talked, to like go in and actually make it because I was boiling the water.
Yeah, and she was like, "Remind me to go get my tea."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday.
So, 24 hours later. I look at Nikki and go, hey, wasn't I supposed to remind you of something?
Yes, and you did, and thank you so much. I had already made today's tea. It was so after that. Yes, and that's fine, because we're all unique people with talents and abilities.
You know what I feel like? Okay, a couple things. First off, you didn't tell me when to remind you, so I still did.
I did. I thought I said remind me after this break to go and do that.
No.
I'm supposed to believe you?
That prepositional phrase that you threw in there? No.
That's not what happened?
No, that's
Am I just throwing that in?
You're retconning the whole thing. All right? You are. You're retconning. You didn't say when.
You're sure?
You just said to remind you.
Because I can go back. I'm sure we have this recorded somewhere.
Fire up the Josh. Show us what happened. Okay. Now, that being said, wait, what was I saying? Okay. I feel like, I feel like if I worked in a normal office environment, I would be able to hide this kind of stuff. Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't forget. I would forget, but I would find ways to hide it so that people wouldn't know. But because
kind
we
of
spend
like our previous story with the cash register thing where you distract people with something else.
They're like, hey, Obadiah, did you get the whatever done? And I would be like, pop and lock and pop and lock. And they would be like,
I can't ask him anymore. Like, what's he doing?
You know what? Never mind. I'm leaving. And I would be fine. No big deal. Right? Okay. So, but in this room, there's so much talking.
Yeah.
You lose the ability to hide things because you got nothing to hide behind.
Sure.
So, I mean, I could pop and lock and you'd be like, I still didn't get my tea.
Why didn't you remind me?
So.
And that's all right. I mean, I remembered yesterday.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just bring it up because I want to involve you in the process.
Well, sometimes that helps you remember.
It does.
Like if you say it out loud and you say it to me and then you go, well, this man baby won't remember. I'll have to.
It doesn't mean I'm actually expecting you to remind me.
Right. It's just part of the process.
If I vocalize it, I'll remember better.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm just glad to be part of the process.
Yeah, part of something.
That's fine.
I just like how you're like, yeah, I wasn't there. I was like, yeah, that was yesterday. And thank you for helping to remind me. I'd be better off if I asked you guys to help remind me.
You're right. We have listeners that you could tell them a time and they would text you and remind you of whatever you needed.
You guys are great like that.
Yeah. So.
And you're great too, but just.
It takes all kinds, Nikki.
It does. And I know that I can count on you for other things.
Hey, don't I show up every day?
You do.
That's something. The last guy didn't do that.
That is something.
The Riot is an award-winning morning show.
It's literally a medal for sucking.
Now that is a medal for trying.
Okay.
Radio U.
I see a friend of mine who says that he's looking to buy, and I quote, wait a minute, what is it here? A pole vault pit.
A what?
Yeah.
So, like,
right?
if you did pole vaulting?
Yeah, when I was like, oh, pole vault pit is probably like just the hole, right, for the pole vault. If you Google pole vault pit, it's everything.
It's like I'm afraid to.
It's like that thing that when you're flying through the air and then they flop onto the other side. It's one of those.
Okay, how much
does that setup?
How much does that really cost?
Well, what's really weird to me about it is that if you Google it, you'll just find it like right there. Like Google Shopping has a page where you can go to shopping and like you can get your own pole vault pit for somewhere between $900. This one's $1,300.
So, like, I'm seeing one for like $27,000, but I think that just varies, and if it's new or used.
Here's another one for $15,000, and the other thing that's kind of rough about it is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like, all right,
they're gonna pole vault. What do you think's gonna happen?
What's the weight limit on this?
Did he pole vault when he was younger, or?
I don't know.
What does he need it for?
Okay, look,
do you make meth with it? What's going on? What's going on?
He's gonna make meth with it. That's what it is.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason anybody does anything in Nikki's world.
So
are they making meth out of it?
Well, I'm just worried. What are they going to make out of it? It's like,
terrible.
This is where my weed farm's going to go. Like, what is it?
I'm growing weed under the pole vault.
I'm worried.
There's weed in there.
Because no one is using it to actually pole vault.
So Sam, who just texted in, said, that's a lot of money, so no thanks. I did pole vault. It's expensive. Yeah, here you go. High school pole vault pit, $1,300. Do you just, like, would you just put this in your backyard?
Probably. Unless you have high ceilings, but I don't think they're that high.
Something tells me that while you and I, our pole vault height is probably ceiling height.
We could totally do it.
That's probably not.
But people who are wanting to purchase this to practice and get better, you're probably going to need a little bit more height.
All right, no offense to anybody, but I think right now this is the most thought I've ever given pole vault. And the more I'm thinking about it, do you guys know how dumb that is?
Why?
You're like, hey,
one person was running with a pole one day and it got caught, and then he went up and over.
We're going to give you this stick, and we want you to run as fast as you can, and then put yourself up over that thing.
Listen, they didn't have TV back then, okay? The stick was the TV.
That's right.
So that's why they're like, all the games with the stick.
So what else can we do with the stick? Hey. See if you can get yourself over the thing with the stick.
I did lacrosse, remember? That's a stick with a ball.
All right, that's a stick thing. You're right.
It's a very hard ball.
Actually, what am I saying? I played soccer. We didn't even have a stick.
That's just the ball.
We didn't even have a stick.
So they had very few tools back then when all this stuff was being made up.
Well, I'll tell you what. Barrier to entry on soccer, that's not expensive. So this pole vault pit, $1,300.
Can you ask your friend why he wants it? I want to have closure on this topic.
No, I can't. I already forgot. I don't even remember who it was.
You just saw it. It just passed.
Well, you see something and you're like, what are people doing? Like, what are we doing?
They're doing something.
Yeah.
They're doing something.
Well, we should do something.
I'm not pole vaulting.
No one ever parks in that parking lot right there.
We have total
space. It's always empty. We could put a pole vault pit over there and just, if nothing else, we just go over there and flop into it.
Oh, that would be, I want one of those foam pits, the big foam pits.
Where you just fall into it.
You just jump in it.
You know what? Why don't we just get one of those salt tanks where it's like you just float in it?
Okay, we could do that too. Why don't we just put a big circus tent next to the building? We fill it with all the things, all those things, and that's where we go.
Why don't we just get a bed, each our own beds, and you can sleep over there and I'll sleep over here.
Okay, so we're just going to pass on the pole vaulting then?
Well, I mean, when you pole vault, you end up just laying flat.
So just
what
put
you
the
and
bed
I have done
underneath
is like we've just skipped some steps.
You're right.
And we're back to just laying. That sounds good to me. I'm fine with that. Silent Planet.
Nick, don't text us that.
What did he say?
About soccer. It's terrible.
Soccer was started with enemies' severed heads from a battle that was won. Nick, you can't confirm that.
I don't want to think about that. That's
like,
not what it was.
Golf was started with severed heads and eventually evolved into the modern ball we all know now.
Let's watch what we text us, okay, people?
Ever grab milk right out of the fridge to pour in your cereal, only to realize that your stupid roommate left an empty carton in the fridge? That emptiness is nothing compared to how you're about to feel. It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
Only 1 week, Nikki.
1 week till
I can stop all this self-loathing that I'm feeling right now.
What for? more.
Well, I'm not a fan of Facebook. I know that we do stuff on Facebook, and it's a
like, necessary evil.
It is. It's this necessary evil. But like when I take a step back and go big picture, I'm not a big fan of Facebook. And yet, I'm really, really excited about F8 next week.
Says no one ever but you.
See, the thing is that everybody thinks that's when they'll announce at least a release date, but probably will release the Oculus Rift S.
You have this
I want it so badly.
You've got this big group of people, and you're like, oh, Facebook. And then you whittle it down to like, oh, Facebook for their conference that's next week. And you're like, okay, smaller. Even smaller to now. The Oculus, where it's a virtual reality headset, even smaller. Who wants one? Even smaller. And there you are at the bottom.
And there I am alone.
So you want the new Oculus?
That's why I need a virtual reality headset, so I can have fake friends.
You can have that world.
Because I'm all alone down here in the, abandoned grotto.
Well, Facebook bought Oculus a while ago.
They did.
And, that was like a developer kit, and then they had one, and Obi bought one of those.
I did.
And
sold it.
You sold it, and you made I don't think you made money,
No. Listen,
you made more than I thought you would have.
The first time when I bought the developer kit and sold it, I made money. The second time, I lost money on that because I built a bundle. I sold it as a bundle.
You put stuff in it.
Not arguably. I did lose money on the bundle, though not that much.
Yeah.
So like it was all right.
So you are ready to go into the next one.
I am.
Which is supposed to be more of a self-standing unit?
Well, it has what they call inside-out tracking. So it'll still plug into my computer, but that's all. Everything will be built in that it needs. And so I'm going to be able to actually use this thing. And I've got this one spot where I will move my couch literally. Like before, it was like move a table, move the couch, move whatever. If it works the way I want it to, and maybe it will. Just kidding. We all know it won't. But if it would, then I just move this couch 2 feet, and I should have a big open space that I can play in.
And you don't need to hold the controllers on your hands anymore?
Well, you still have to have controllers in your hands.
Okay,
that's a thing. But like, I don't have to have the little tracking sensors all over. Those things, if you have to like move anything, as soon as you move it, you're like, all right, let's go back in, set it up, whatever. So if you can keep them in place, it's great. But I can't.
That was the hard part.
That was the hard part. So
I'm excited. So Facebook has a press conference next week.
A week from today.
And they think that's when it'll be out in stores.
It's been a long time since we've been excited about anyone's press conference, right?
Now, did you just say we?
Yeah.
You said we, okay.
Yeah, I did, because we're in this together.
Just want to make sure that you realize that. No, I don't know anybody else who's still excited about the press conference. I just want
you to know
I'm not even excited about Apple's press conference.
That's the same we that's reading the cat books.
From yesterday.
Okay? So like,
it is, right, it's a group effort.
If you can keep casting we net all the time, like we, then I want you to know that I'm going to start casting it back.
And I have to just live through it.
We're excited about the press conference, and we can't wait to see that.
So next Tuesday, when Facebook has their press conference, and no one cares about it, I want you to remember that man over there.
There's one guy.
The one who shows up for you every day.
Every day, Nikki.
Okay?
I'm here for you every day. Most days I'm taking Friday off.
Okay, so the days that he's here for us, we're here for you next Tuesday.
Hallelujah.
And we can't wait, and I'll drive you over to the store if you need to.
Maybe.
So you can run in, I'll pick you up, and then I'll swing back around and pick you up when you get it.
Hey, who went to Best Buy with you to buy a Switch?
Well, you didn't have to. You just kind of wanted to, just to make fun of me. I think that was the big reason. Was that the reason?
No, I'll tell you what. I'm going to call you the big flipper. Because you know what you do? You flip things back on me. I go to Best Buy with you to get a Switch, and you're like, oh, we're having fun. We're on lunch. It's fun. It's fun. And now it's like, I'll take you to your stupid thing.
No,
with your
I will drive you, and I'll help you.
You know what, Nikki? You don't have to if you want to, so you can make fun of me.
I'll be there.
Remember, if you can just make it through the rest of the riot, then you can probably make it through the rest of the week. And through the next several months, and then it'll practically be Christmas. The Riot on RadioU.
Sometimes pizza places have to close, all right? They have to take a little break. Don't we all need a break?
Yeah, but normally not pizza places. I mean, it takes a lot to close down one of those.
Nikki, they need a break.
No, because whenever you go, no matter what, like you could have nothing in your town, but what would you have? at least one or two pizza
Now,
places.
that's true.
And an auto parts store.
I'll tell you something about. I live in a small town, and it's like we have 400 pizza places. That's it. And I think it has to do with they call the place I live where they call it a bedroom community. And what that means is that basically all you do is sleep there.
Yeah.
You don't do anything else. You live there, you commute in, everything else you drive to get to, and then you just come home and sleep. And so you come home to sleep, and what do you do before you go to sleep? Order some pizza.
So you need that close by, but you don't need anything else.
So that's all you do. So,
but I feel like none of those places close down anywhere that I ever see.
There's something to that, right? Let's talk about what happened. Oh, my gosh. In Parker County, Texas, Friday night. Mm-hmm. They had to close down a particular pizza place in the area, Mr. Jim's Pizza.
Ooh,
now,
Mr. Jim's. What is it?
Hey, you want to order the Big Jim?
I could totally see that being a pie.
It has to be on the menu,
has
right?
To be there.
It has to be on the menu. So they're in Springtown. Somebody called the police about 8 o'clock on Friday night because they saw that a Mr. Jim's employee had posted on social media that they were adding a little extra something to the pizza.
Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Was he spitting in it, or what was he adding?
Well, okay. He was. Let's start here. No bodily fluids.
Okay, that's a little better.
So what else could you? Nope. That's a good one. Good one.
What else
was
he?
Good answer. Good answer. Not that.
Bugs.
Laxatives.
Oh, well then you're not gaining the weight from the pizza.
So there you go.
So you can have your pizza and eat it too.
That's like a high fiber pizza.
I know, like in some circles of like health and wellness. That would actually be something you'd pay extra for.
You would. You would. So the police arrived, questioned the employees. They're like, no, we did not do that to any of the pizzas we sold to the public.
Right. They're just doing it to each other's pizzas?
Apparently that is the case. One of them was trying to feed the other guy.
That.
So the police pulled the health permit. They called in a health inspector who then pulled the health permit.
And they called Mr. Jim because I'm afraid he's got to come in.
He was not. Mr. Jim was not there Friday night.
No, but you have to come in and figure what's going on with your employees.
So he comes in to find out that someone's been putting an X-Lax on the Big Jim.
Not on my watch.
That's my brand. That's my good name in this community.
Sounds like Mr. Jim right there.
He probably had a few things to say.
This is why you don't want to order from any place, because sometime in your life someone's tampered with something and you just ate it.
You know what? You're still alive. You're fine.
Because we're all just sheep, just
eating
and just moving on.
Here's what it makes me wonder, though. Like that one time you went to that restaurant and you got really sick, but you can't remember why, and you've eaten there a bunch of times and it was totally fine and whatever.
What did someone put in it?
What did somebody do to your food that time?
And it doesn't matter. You could be nice, and someone's still spitting in your food because they think it's funny.
That's why I still can't go back to hot burrito. Because let me tell you what, after hot burrito,
something happened.
There was a hot burrito. So, after that, I was sick for a week.
Yeah.
That's right. You were gone. That was that time.
I still felt it. When you're sick, I still feel it.
I feel it, too.
Okay, I knew you were sick.
I was out for 2 days.
Well, I was on vacation having just a wonderful time in the sun, and you were facing the food poison.
I had to keep leaving work early because I couldn't live. I went a whole week without eating at all. It's great. I had such a good time.
Just be careful whenever you're eating any food anywhere.
And you might want to. Actually, you know what? When Mr. Jim's opens up, in a couple days, that's going to be the cleanest that pizza's ever been.
It's going to be the best.
It's going to be the best it's ever been.
And this is one thing I always try to tell myself to do, but I never remember, but we should. You should, if you get something, look at it before you stuff it in your mouth. You get a hamburger, open it up. Take a little look-see, because you never know what could be in there.
Dee lives in Texas, and she says that would explain a lot about Mr. Jim's Pizza. They used to have a Big Jim.
Hey!
She says it was a square pizza.
Okay.
Hudson wouldn't eat that. He's got a weird thing about square pizzas.
The more I hear about Hudson, I don't know if I want to learn any more about it, because that's the best pizza. And he's wrong.
I don't want to get into it.
The Worst of the Riot box set is now available nowhere because we know you wouldn't want it anyway. It's The Worst of the Riot on Radio U.
You know, Nikki and I look at a lot of the same news sources, and as a result, a lot of times she'll pass me a news story, and I've seen it, and I'll pass her one, and she's seen it, but we use it for the show.
Yeah.
But I saw a news story that I was like, you know what? We don't need it. We'll just pass on it, whatever. And then what do I hear but Nikki going, hey, Eric.
Did you have this story?
Come and look at this.
Well, one of the cats looks just like my cat, Panda. So I thought this would be an interesting way to shave our cat. Said I've never said that on the air before.
Is that a euphemism?
I don't think it is. No, it's a cat trend.
This is a good way to shave the cat.
People shave their cats. And so, like, for my cat, he's very fuzzy, very fluffy. And if you don't shave him, he gets really bad hairballs, like, no matter what you do.
Can I just ask this question?
Yeah.
Let's say that he gave up his, what was it called? Kitty pet status or whatever, and he became a warrior. Sure. Like, what does he do out in the wild? Does he just get the hairballs? Like, what happens?
I don't know. Like, for him, though, he's a inside cat, doesn't do much.
Okay.
Like, this is just his life. So we shave him in a lion cut, and it's very cute, and Eric just does it. You just shave most of his fur.
And then leave a mane?
Yeah, you leave a mane and part of his feet and his tail, like the end part of a tail, so it looks like a lion.
Okay.
But the new trend for cats is to make it...
On Instagram, mind you.
On
the cats
Instagram.
are not asking for this.
Because if you don't post a picture about it, does it even happen? Is you're supposed to shave your cats to look like dinosaurs. So, like, going down his back, he would have a line of fur down the middle, and you can make it look like...
The
spikes. Yeah, the spikes going down it.
That a dinosaur would have.
It's really cute, and it's a new trend. Or like a dragon. Think of it as a dragon, too. For Game of Thrones,
that makes it better.
It's topical. That's what they're doing.
I got my cat. It looks like the Daenerys dragon. So I pretend to ride it around.
That's what they're doing. So if you have a cat and you do any sort of grooming, like shaving with it, you can make it look like a dinosaur.
I'm concerned about the very cat-centric approach our show is beginning to take. Yesterday, Zach's sister comes in with the cat books.
The warrior books that we talked about last week.
And now we're in here talking about cat hairstyles.
Listen, that's two things out of how many things we've talked about. That's not worrisome yet.
I'll tell you what. I'm going for a deep dive on some video game news. Because I got to pull it back.
You want to bring it back
pull
around?
the show back on track.
Why? It involves dragons and dinosaurs. It's still fun.
What is that? I'm a boy. I like dinosaurs.
Yeah, you should like this sort of stuff. You just can't have cats. Your allergies. Don't let it happen.
Fine, whatever. You know what? Look, here's another song that feels a little cat-centric. Nightbird. Ooh, what does the kitty like to eat? Get the Nightbird.
So if anybody shaves their cats to look like the dinosaurs or the dragons, let me know.
Nikki needs to see that picture.
I do. I need to let my cat grow out his hair, and then we can shave him. So
yeah, but by then there'll be
something new.
It'll be a new trend.
I'm missing the trend.
Listen, before you do any of the cat styling, make sure that you're looking for the trends and then do
You're right. That's good to remember.
You're listening to The Riot. Voted #1 morning show. Among toddlers aged 2 to 5. Among people with hearing problems. Among dogs who bark at loud noises. Among relatives of Obadiah. Among people who lie in surveys. The Riot, Radio U.
Here's a word that I love. I love the word fatberg. And I told Nikki that if it were up to me, I want to pitch it's maybe only 30 minutes, but it's not a comedy. It's a dramatic police investigative show in which Detective Fatberg is on the case.
But I don't know that has to...
Bring in Fatberg.
But pretty much because of the name, you feel like it has to be a comedy, but that's not what you're wanting.
That's why I want to play it straight.
You want it to be serious?
He's Fatberg, and he's fat, but not like super fat, and he's always eating something.
But he's tough, like an iceberg.
Oh, yeah, he's unstoppable.
So I think that's really where the root of the name is coming from.
Oh, yeah. But his name is Fatberg.
Sure.
Like, that's his last name, Detective Fatberg. It's perfect. I love it so much.
Why hasn't anybody jumped on that? Or at least a reality show on why or how come, we haven't seen the crews that go and take care. Fatberg is actually a thing. Most major cities can have an issue with this, but in the UK and for this in New York City, the biggest problem is the sewer system is not set up for the trash of people like what people are flushing nowadays. Usually like wipes that are even flushable or not really flushable. And there's other things that get sent down the toilet and collect in the sewer systems and stuff. And
they make
a fatberg.
A fatberg.
So all this stuff collects into this horribly grotesque thing, and it causes the sewers to back up and cause problems.
So according to the New York Department of Environmental Protection, they spent $19 million removing fatbergs from the sewage system last year, and they had 2,100 of them in the, oh my gosh, you don't want to know. This is, okay.
Don't give them all the details.
Okay, well, there was 2,100 of them they had to break up.
Leave that for Detective Fatberg.
And they have started a new awareness campaign. Now, Nikki, I'm not going to read them all to you, but they're saying you should only flush the 4 Ps.
Oh, proper planning prevents a poor performance? Is that it?
You know what's funny? Even for me, that delights in grossing Nikki out, I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to tell you.
It is too gross. Don't tell me.
You.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to tell you, but one of them's toilet paper.
That's fine.
We'll just stop there.
Well, then what's... Okay, I know the other two.
They say that one puke is one of the other ones.
Oh, why? You're supposed to...
You're supposed
to throw up in the sink.
But, Nikki, it's all connected.
I know it's all connected.
All connected. They say one of the biggest issues that they have, aside from people flushing things they shouldn't, are, quote-unquote, flushable wipes.
Yeah,
they say that's becoming very popular. And I've seen them, dude. I've had people talk to me in hushed tones, just like, hey, do you know about dude wipes? And I'm just like, okay, I think this conversation's over.
We're not that good of friends.
But, yeah, that's a thing. And they say these flushable wipes that really aren't flushable are causing fatbergs.
So there's like little icebergs of trash and waste that are down there, and they don't know what to do. So cruiser people have to go in and break apart fatbergs and remove it. And I don't know.
We got a fatberg problem.
What do you do? Bring it up and burn it? Or where does it go?
Nikki, you know how you don't want to know all the 4 Ps?
You're right. I don't want to know.
This is probably something you don't want to know.
Because normally people are like, just let it flush down. Don't worry about it. But that's the problem. You have to worry about these things. Your problems don't go away just by flushing them. This is also a life lesson.
Oh man, I'm learning something right now. You know, if you keep flushing everything, eventually you're going to have a fatberg in your heart.
You are, and you're not going to know what to do, and it's going to be all clogged up.
Let's talk about the fatberg in your heart.
And you thought those wipes would clean everything away, but it's not.
It's just making it worse.
You're just thinking that it's fixed the problem, but the problem is still there.
You got to deal with your fatberg.
Yes, you do.
I'm really glad we had this talk. RadioU.com/free gift.
We're all here
Deal
to help.
with the fatberg in your heart.
No, really. But then also for cities, really, we need to deal with it too.
Yes, and also really, please don't be flushing your wipes. What? It's in the story. That's a vital public service.
It's still very weird to say.
Awful, terrible, horrible, pathetic. Someone grab me a thesaurus. I'm gonna need more words to describe how bad these guys are. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
I'll tell you what is something that I love. I like taking a bath. I do. Sitting there in a tepid pool of my own filth. It's fantastic. Who wouldn't enjoy it?
Right. Sounds really lovely.
Yeah. Well, in Japan, bathing is like a thing. And it's not just like, hey, take a bath. It's like you go down to the public bathhouse.
You go to, it's like hot springs.
It is.
Yeah,
and hot springs are big there.
It is. It's a bathhouse.
My friend that lives there in Japan, he was telling me that like over the weekend, he and some friends went to a hot springs and it was fantastic. And I was like, that's cool. I went to my basement.
Well, there, though, I think it's a part of a culture, and it's just something that is that they like to do.
Yeah.
We just never grew up doing that.
We did not. But in the middle of this bathing culture that is big there, they have just had... We got another Guinness World Record breaker here, Nikki.
2 in the morning.
Yeah, there is a bathtub there that has been certified the heaviest gold bathtub in the world. It's an 18-karat gold bathtub, and you can go there and bathe in it.
In which bathhouse? In the Golden Bathhouse, or where is it?
What's the name of this resort here?
This feels resorty. Like it doesn't feel like, hey, I live in Japan, I'm going to this bath. This feels like if you're a tourist.
It's weird. The name of the actual location, I don't see it in here somewhere. So I don't know. The name of the company that owns the place is called Hui Tin Bosch Company.
Well, just Google big golden tub.
It's big enough. It's only built for 2 adults. So if you're like me and all my friends are going, nope, you just this
2
one.
at a time.
That's all you're going to get.
It's like, we going on the ark? Just get in the golden tub.
2 at a time.
I would feel like they were going to cook me. Like, it just feels very weird.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too nihilistic on everything, but like, what does anything mean? What's the point of anything? But like, why do you have to have a golden tub? I guess the thing I can't understand is this. Like, I don't have a lot of money, and so I'm just like, it's so exciting to have this pizza. I can enjoy it. But when you're having a golden bathtub, you're like, I just have money that I just need to spend.
But it's not a person who did. Like, is this a new golden bathtub or is it an old one? Meaning,
that's a question. Like, I just want you to know.
No, is it like from the Emperor? We had the golden tub.
No,
that's
it is a new one.
Okay, well,
it was just fashioned. But I just want you to know, of all the sentences that I thought you were going to say to me today, I never imagined that question. Well, is this a new golden bathtub or an old golden bathtub?
I'm asking the question everybody wants to know.
And to be clear, it's not golden.
It's gold.
It's gold.
Yeah, so they're just making it for show. And then that brings tourism and that brings people in.
What kind? I don't care. I don't want to. Is it clean? Is the water clean? Fine. Is the tub gold? I don't care.
You don't care about that.
I don't. But man, if you could get me, Nick and I were talking yesterday about how, like, you run a hot bath and then eventually it gets cold. We were wondering if you could get one of those sous vide things to float in your bathtub and it would just keep the water warm.
I saw a bathtub that has technology on the bottom that keeps the water warm for you. So that's in newer tubs.
Yeah. I should sell everything I own and get one of those.
Change it out.
This was the worst of the riots, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
You just must endure the itchies.